welcome to our special report, the program that brings you a ground zero view from whichever part of the country the Rajya Sabha TV cameras are travelling. This week we are in the cultural capital and the city of joy, that's Kolkata. West Bengal is a state which has always been associated with culture, literature, music and more significantly, education. But unfortunately, political violence on the college campuses across the state are on the rise. What are the reasons behind this phenomena? Can the political parties really dissociate themselves from interference on the campus politics? And to what extent can the students define restraint? Over the next 30 minutes, we'll try and find out answers to all these questions. The late 60s and 70s saw college campuses in West Bengal erupt with violence spurred by Maoist movement. Violent ways seem to have made a comeback, but this time without a tinge of idealism. Is the student politics heading back to the anarchic days of 1970s? Rajya Sabha TV visited a number of campuses in the state to find out the stark realities. West Bengal has a history of violence in college campuses, but its intensity has risen in the last few years. While political parties are engaged in a blame game, none of them deny the damage the recent incidents have inflicted on the image of the state.
People, those who are moving under the banner of TMC, who has got no connection with education, are interfering in the campus life of the students.
They have started their violent political movements inside the colleges, etc., with the different programs and demanding their different issues.
Many people have lost their lives in political violence on the college campuses. This plucking of young lives in their prime has generated a larger debate on student politics and the spin of violence in a state which is high on unemployment. "24-year-old Sudipta Gupta, a young leader of the Student Federation of India, the student wing of CPIM, became the latest casualty in the state, triggering a wave of protests among various political groups. Sudipta, along with fellow SFI activists, was protesting Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's decision to put on hold all college union elections for 6 months. The decision was taken after a Kolkata police officer was killed during Congress Trinamool clashes over these elections.
My want from the government would be, please, ma'am, please bring peace in the state. We don't want our state like this. We don't want people outside West Bengal to laugh to us like this.
सुदीप्ता गुप्ता को जो हत्या हो गया पुलिस कस्टडी में, उसका जुडिशियल इंक्वायरी चाहिए.
Left parties have called Sudipta a martyr, but Sudipta's family feels the left also needs to share the blame for his death.
I've been saying this repeatedly that I want justice. We want to know why he was attacked so brutally. We want to probe into it. We don't know when it would happen, but we want to probe, even if it be from the CBI.
Many a times in West Bengal, irrespective of which political party the leaders belong to, the response of the political class to campus violence has been dismissive, has been casual, and that has trivialized the enormity of the situation.
I don't know, that is a postmortem report you see. This is we said unfortunate incident, but that is the accident. This is not police atrocity.
Both family need a judiciary probe into her.
That already postmortem report is there. It's a small matter, petty matter. Why?
And this comment has infuriated the parties.
The violence was created by TMC people getting hoodlums with them.
Student unions in India have been backed by the political parties since the days of freedom movement, when Satyagraha needed young people to support the cause. But a lot of it has changed now, because there is a perception that professional campuses like IITs think of campus politics as a deterrent to their career, while the general campuses think of it as a perspective.
April 9th will be marked as a black day in the history of Presidency University. On that day, Trinamool Congress workers allegedly stormed into the prestigious campus and attacked students while classes were on.
The goons of the political party which is actually governing right now, coming inside the campus, destroying the campus, and then also commenting on the girls, threatening them of the adverse conditions as rape, that was absolutely not called for.
Student politics, I think, should involve anything other than these political violences which we see in our colleges.
TMC workers are accused of vandalizing classrooms and the historic science lab, the Baker Laboratory, inside the campus.
This is the historic centuries-old Baker's Lab of Presidency University, which was attacked and vandalized by the goons recently. Now, this particular lab has seen the likes of Satyendranath Bose, Jagdish Chandra Bose and C.V. Raman. And in that sense, this attack becomes an attack on the edifice of history, an attack on an institution, and also an attack on an idea.
In the meanwhile, State Human Rights Commission currently is conducting an inquiry into the presidency attack. This incident has united not only the students and the faculty of Presidency University, but also the Alumni Association. Together they organized a rally and met the governor of West Bengal.
I apologize to all the students of Presidency College, or perhaps of the students of all the universities in Calcutta and in Bengal, for what has happened.
College campuses in West Bengal have been traditional strongholds of various leftist organizations where Trinamool Congress had never dominated. But since the time this government has come to power, there is a tendency to seize the campuses by force, and that perhaps is becoming the main reason for violence.
These are not just one-off incidents. The campuses have been witnessing such events for some time. On January 5th last year, principal of Raiganj College in North Bengal was dragged out of his room and beaten up by Trinamool Congress Chhatra Parishad activists. They were reportedly angered by his refusal to postpone student union elections. 2 days later, the principal of Sudhir Ranjan Lahiri College in Machdiya Nadia was allegedly beaten up by SFI activists. On January 11th last year, principal of Rampur Hart College was heckled by Trinamool Chhatra Parishad when he spoke to media persons against TMCP supporters who threatened to kill him if he postponed the student union election. On December 16, 2010, Swapan Kole, a second-year BCom student of Prabhu Jagabandhu College in Andul, Howrah, died after he was thrown into a canal by members of a rival student group. On December 18, 2010, Sauvik Hazra, an SFI supporter, lost his vision in a clash between SFI and TMCP at Ashutosh College campus.
Welcome back. You're watching our special report on campus violence in the state of West Bengal.
So what's the trigger factor for campus violence in West Bengal? Many quarters blame it on teachers. They say teachers try to propagate ideologies and cultivate an inclination towards certain political parties.
When one professor is trying to inject a particular political philosophy, then other teacher will come and contradict it. So automatic student forces are to be divided.
And this becomes a cause of violence.
This is the main cause of violence.
हिस्ट्री बता रहा है कि सीपीएम स्टूडेंट लोगों को आगे भेजता है और उनके डेथ मृत्यु कोई भी दुखदायक है, उससे भी दुखदायक है, उसको लेके पॉलिटिक्स करना।
Student groups and college authorities feel political appointments into different college governing bodies lead to an anarchic situation, forcing political parties to take a stand.
Political parties have to teach the students and have to teach the greater society that we may have different opinion, but ultimately we are friends. We are trying to make a better society.
TMC people interfering in the students' politics of that particular institution.
If you don't leave the student politics into the hands of the students of the campuses, violence will come out.
There is a huge dichotomy in the sense that West Bengal has been one of the first states to increase the salaries of teachers, but over the years there has been a general decadence in the standard of education, and many feel that campus violence is perhaps one of the main reasons.
Across the campuses, there is a feeling that what is going on in the educational institutions is not campus violence, but attacks by outside elements.
In colleges and universities, no political party should intervene. It's about students' union. It is by the students, for the students and of the students.
Two parties showing who's more dominant. And both the parties have a very bad way of showing the dominance, like attacking a campus, and none of them were from our campuses.
Campuses was prevalent across the country in 1960s and 70s, and West Bengal perhaps is going through the same churning. 6 months ban on student elections put by Mamata Banerjee government is seen as a step towards bringing down the political temperature in the college campuses.
These are visuals of violent clashes at Hari Mohan Ghosh College in the Garden Reach area of Kolkata. Congress Chhatra Parishad and Trinamool Chhatra Parishad supporters clashed during filing of nomination papers. Miscreants from outside entered the college campus and tried to break the main gate, leading to the killing of a police officer. This incident forced the West Bengal government to put student union elections on hold for 6 months.
We have not much police we have that we can protect parallelly the union and also the exam. So we thought our priority is the exam, not the student election. So we can take it, we can take the all elections after finishing these exams.
But this step was termed as undemocratic by student groups.
one can say very good words, but in action if it doesn't take place, then it is not right.
कि स्टूडेंट पॉलिटिक्स इसके लिए जिम्मेदार नहीं है, इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है स्टूडेंट पॉलिटिक्स में जो हुलिगनिज्म जो आप लोगों ने चालू किया, हमारा गवर्नमेंट जो पार्टी अब चला रहा है वो लोग जो हुलिगनिज्म यहाँ पे चालू किया उसी कारण से ये सब हो रहा है.
Student selection which has postponed by the state government by a circular for indefinite time should be start immediately.
Opposition parties have reacted strongly to this decision and have demanded its withdrawal.
That hangama took place that area, and within 3-4 days the education minister has said the election postponed. Why? He could have done it 3 months before, 2 months before, 1 month before. Why particular that day? Practically they are afraid of conducting the students' union election.
State government has now introduced the West Bengal Education Institutions Elections Bill 2013 to depoliticize campuses. To put a stop to violence in colleges and universities, the bill seeks to set up guidelines.
We want a public debate, we want civil society, we want educationists, we want students. Education is a very important part of politics. Politics is a very important part of education. The two are important. But why should there be those party flags only? Is there something beyond that? I'm not saying, this is my view. Someone in my party may have a different view, but we want to debate this. We want to detox.
The draft bill uploaded on the department's website suggests replacing of student union in colleges and universities by students' council. Councils are barred from propagating any ideology, using emblems or obtaining affiliation of any political party. Only regular students will be allowed to participate in student elections, which means voters and candidates need to have 75 days of attendance. And creation of an election authority for conducting student elections guided by an election observer.
In May 2006, Lingdo Committee submitted its report to the Union HRD Ministry, giving its views in support of apolitical student union bodies. Though it got its stamp from the Supreme Court, but its recommendations haven't been implemented by many states in many colleges.
The Lingdo Committee was set up by the central government, had stipulated that all institutions of higher education should conduct student union elections every year. The committee had put forward certain conditions for the conduct of elections in campuses. The tenure of union is up to 5 years. Candidates should not have been tried or convicted for any criminal offence. Candidates should not have been subjected to any disciplinary action by university authorities. Restrictions on the number of times a student can contest for a post, once for the post of office bearer and twice for that of an executive member, are criticised for curtailing the democratic rights of students. Activists say these conditions will preempt experienced leadership.
West Bengal Higher Education Council has studied the Lingdo Committee report and has tried to heavily borrow suggestions from it. But still there's no clarity whether the party politics will be detached from the campus.
This kind of bill where the essence of the bill is disassociation from the mother party to students' organizations.
Student organizations have a tendency to politicize the election process. The involvement of these organizations in student elections often defeats the goal of democratic student representation.
According to a survey conducted by groups like Student Participation on Campuses, less than 50% college campuses in India have implemented the Lingdo Committee recommendations, and in fact, there is an abysmally poor awareness about the Lingdo report.
Violence in campuses in West Bengal has reached an unprecedented level in the last 1.5 years, according to the political observers. Since mid-2011, around 200 incidents of campus violence have been reported in the state, where SFI, Trinamool Chhatra Parishad and Congress Chhatra Parishad members were found to be involved. But surprisingly, outfits like Trinamool Chhatra Parishad are demanding a review of Lingdo Committee report.
सोचता हूँ ये लिंडो कमीशन का भी रिव्यू होना चाहिए.
Time for a short break now. Don't go away. We'll come back with lots more on campus violence in West Bengal. Back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching our special report on campus violence in the state of West Bengal.
We travel to Santiniketan to find out about another incident that kicked up a row.
Right now, I am at Vishabharati University at Shantiniketan, which was established and pioneered by famous poet and Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. This particular campus holds a mirror not only to West Bengal but the entire country when it comes to student politics and campus environment.
The victim this time was former Lok Sabha Speaker Somnath Chatterjee. Chatterjee resigned from the board of Purni Devi Chaudhary College after the principal passed the 26 first-year students after they failed to qualify for the examination because of poor attendance. Students allege that this was done under pressure from the Trinamool Chhatra Parishad.
The next governing body meeting was held when I was told by one of the professors that this had happened, although the academic council of the college had not agreed to that. In spite of that, that was allowed. I came to know if it, and then and there I said, no, I'm sorry, I cannot belong to an organization where, in an educational institution where education is not given privacy.
This 7-acre plot of Vishabharati University still symbolizes the ancient system of Indian learning, a significant departure from the way education and teaching is viewed in the entire country. Simplicity is still the cardinal principle. Therefore, campus politics is viewed in a healthy manner.
Our motto is first university, betterment, then politics. And we believe in politics, politics for mankind, politics for students' development, their future development.
There are teachers and student groups of various political leanings, but campus violence is unheard of in this campus. Teachers and students of this revered institution share an integral socio-cultural experience.
Unfortunately, I do not find that students are really involved in constructive politics.
The history of violence in West Bengal goes back to the days of Naxalbari movement of the peasants in 1967, which had reverberations across campuses. Young students fed on dreams of revolution and revolt, joined the rebel underground movement in large numbers. Then the state government crushed the movement with an iron hand.
There were one incident of violence in the past 1 year. No, it has, in the past 2.5 years, it has increased to 1,000.
Each and every day, the students are coming out of their houses and going to the colleges. It's a fear for their parents that they are going to such universities, such colleges, where their political violence is huge.
Campus politics is no longer limited to student groups. Hardened criminals are also a part of political games played in campuses. The recent rise of campus violence is due to changes in political culture, and the main casualty is education.
Violence is always bad, bad, but there is different kinds of violence: political violence, intellectual violence, physical violence. But here what happens? This political violence is finally taking the shape of physical violence.
It's atrocious, it's terrible, it's heinous. So I think, we must invite debate from all walks of life.
Campus violence is restricted not just to West Bengal or India, but according to a study conducted by FBI and the US Education Department on the 3rd anniversary of the Virginia Tech massacre, there is a dramatic increase in the last 20 years. And the authors of the study have attributed this increase to the rise in the enrollment numbers and also the media coverage of the attacks.
What is the real link between the political parties and the student groups? Can this link be severed? What the Education Minister of West Bengal says summarizes the current state of student politics in India.
They are very hush and they don't know what is the implications, what actually the political implications, not the social implications. What the political implications, if the bill has come, the supply line will cut from local level to zonal level to district level to higher level. The supply line will cut. So what is my future then?
It's difficult to find out answers to such a complicated situation in 30 minutes, but from what one can comprehend so far, there is a sense of denial on both sides, whether it's the political parties or the student unions. Both perhaps will have to walk the tightrope so that they can carry on their ideological agenda without hampering the image of the state, with a sole objective to benefit the people, students and the college campuses. On that note, time for us to wrap this edition of our special report. See you next time with another issue from another place. Goodbye and thanks for watching.